You trust this bottle. It's got a maple leaf on it, maybe a little log cabin, a name like Vermont or Butterworth's, something that feels homemade, honest, real. Here's the problem. For most of the syrup on grocery shelves, that maple leaf on the label is the only maple anywhere near what's inside. And it gets worse. One brand that actually claimed to be 100% pure maple got caught in a lab test with over half its contents being plain cane sugar. By the end of this video, you'll know which bottles are fooling you, which ones deserve a spot in your pantry, and the exact word to look for on the label that gives it all away. Let's start with that lab result, because it's the wildest thing we found researching this video. An independent food lab tested 5 cans of pure maple syrup pulled from random store shelves, different batches. All 5 came back the same way. Every single can was at least half cane sugar. The lab's own microbiologist said in 15 years of testing, he'd never seen anything like it. That proves something worth knowing before we go further. The pure maple syrup label isn't automatically safe from fraud. But the trick you actually need to watch for in US stores is different and legal. It's not hiding cane sugar in a maple can. It's putting maple leaves, Vermont names, and home-style branding on a bottle that never had a shred of maple in it. Because the label technically discloses it, if you know where to look. That's 11 bottles on shelves right now. Some of the best-selling syrups in the country. We're naming every one. Then 6 that are the real thing, ranked worst to best. Let's start with the least offensive of the bunch. Number 11. Great Value Original Syrup. Walmart's house brand doesn't pretend to be anything fancy, and that actually works in its favor here. The label lists corn syrup, high fructose corn syrup, water, and caramel color. The same backbone as every imitation syrup on this list, just with none of the story that makes the others sting. Walmart is the largest grocery retailer in the country, so this bottle sits on more shelves than almost anything else we'll cover today. And it also sells its own pure maple syrup under the same Great Value name, on the same shelf. If this one's in your cart by mistake, the real thing is sitting right next to it. It's honest about being fake, which in this category almost counts as a compliment. The next brand thought a new name would make people forget the old one. It didn't. Number 10. Pearl Milling Company Original Syrup. You probably know this brand by its old name, Aunt Jemima, before Quaker rebranded it. The name changed. The formula didn't. The current label lists corn syrup, high fructose corn syrup, cellulose gum, and caramel color before anything maple related. Back when this was still Aunt Jemima, Consumer Reports lab tested both the original and the light version, and found a byproduct of that caramel color in each 30.1 micrograms in the original, 33.0 in the light. Whole Foods actually has a banned ingredients list for their stores, and 4 things in this bottle are on it, including the high fructose corn syrup and 2 of the preservatives. And this isn't some small, forgotten brand back in the 90s. This syrup and its 2 biggest competitors made up about half of every bottle of syrup sold in the entire country. So there's a good chance this exact bottle is sitting in your own kitchen right now. A new name on the label. The same corn syrup underneath, and one of the most eaten syrups in the country. The next brand put a promise on the front of the bottle and broke it on the back. Number 9. Signature Select Original Syrup. This is Albertsons and Safeway's store brand, and there's a genuinely funny detail buried in it. Signature Select puts no high fructose corn syrup right on the front of other products in their own lineup. They're ketchup, for one. But flip over this syrup bottle, and high fructose corn syrup is sitting right there as the second ingredient corn syrup, water, cellulose gum, artificial flavor, caramel color rounding it out. No lab test has singled this bottle out. No lawsuit, no recall, just a store brand syrup sold across hundreds of Albertsons owned stores nationwide that happens to break its own chain's signature promise. Read the tagline, then read the label. They don't agree with each other. The next brand sells you the fake and the real thing under the exact same name, and leaves you to guess which one you grabbed. Number 8. Kroger Original Pancake Syrup. Kroger's house brand runs the same recipe as almost everyone on this list. High fructose corn syrup and corn syrup up top. Caramel color for that maple brown shade, natural flavor to sell the illusion. No maple, no lab flag, no legal action tied to this bottle specifically. What's worth noting is that Kroger, one of the largest grocery chains in the country, also sells its own 100% pure maple syrup a few feet away on the same shelf. So this isn't a company that only makes fake stuff. It's a company selling both, and leaving it up to you to know the difference. Same store, same name, 2 completely different products. Check twice. The next bottle has never made headlines. That's not innocence. That's just better PR. Number 7. Golden Griddle Original Syrup. Golden Griddle has been sitting on grocery shelves for decades in that distinctive griddle-shaped bottle. Corn syrup, high-fructose corn syrup, caramel color, and potassium sorbate. Made by ACH Food Companies, the same parent behind Caro. There's no lab result attached to this one and no headline moment. Just a company quietly running the same corn syrup playbook as its own sister brand, under a different name, for decades, without anyone really noticing. Golden Griddle doesn't need a scandal to still be selling you corn syrup with a costume on. The next brand doesn't hide behind a Vermont name. It hides behind two words. Maple flavor. Number 6. Caro pancake syrup. Caro is a name most people associate with baking. Corn syrup for pecan pie, that kind of thing. But under the same parent company as Golden Griddle, ACH Food Companies, they also make a pancake syrup that leans hard into maple flavor marketing, with Caro's own site advertising a delicious maple flavor front and center. The ingredients tell a plainer story. Corn syrup, high-fructose corn syrup, salt, artificial maple flavor, caramel color. Not a trace of actual maple. Worth noting, Caro's plain like corn syrup, the baking one, isn't pretending to be maple at all. This is specific to the pancake syrup bottle. Maple flavor is doing all the work here, and none of it comes from a tree. The next bottle didn't just borrow a maple word, it borrowed an entire state's name. Number 5. Vermont-made syrup. Here's where the deception kicks up a level. This bottle is named after an entire US state, famous for maple syrup. The label leans on New England imagery, marketed as the taste New England loves. There's not one drop of maple inside. High-fructose corn syrup and corn syrup sit at the very top of the ingredient list, ahead of the natural and artificial maple flavor, doing the actual flavor work, ahead of the caramel color giving it that deep amber tint. The company behind this bottle, B&G Foods, also owns Maple Grove Farms, a genuinely pure maple syrup we'll get to later. Same company, completely different bottle depending on which one you grab. Vermont's real export is maple syrup. This bottle just borrowed the name. The next brand isn't just accused of faking maple this time. It's been caught doing it before. Number 4. Log Cabin Original Syrup. Log Cabin has a track record here, and not a clean one. Back in 2010, Vermont's own congressional delegation and the state's agriculture secretary pushed the FDA to formally investigate Log Cabin's all-natural jug, arguing the packaging, the amber color, the homestead branding, was designed to look just like pure maple syrup while containing none. The company agreed to drop caramel coloring from that specific line afterward. That wasn't the only legal trouble. A separate consumer lawsuit, Moreno versus Pinnacle Foods Group, filed in federal court in California, alleged the all-natural claim was misleading because the product contained synthetic xanthan gum. The case was voluntarily dropped in 2019 with no ruling against the company. So it's not a proven finding, but it's a real case that was filed and existed on a federal docket. As for the regular original syrup, most people actually buy. It's still corn syrup, high-fructose corn syrup, and caramel color today. Though when Consumer Reports lab tested it in 2014, it came back with the lowest amount of that caramel-linked byproduct of any syrup they checked, 11.5 micrograms. They've been caught mimicking maple before. The name on the bottle hasn't changed the story. The next bottle isn't just guilty of the same trick. When an independent lab actually measured it, it came out worse than every other bottle on this list. Number 3. Hungry Jack Original Syrup. Hungry Jack is a J.M. Smucker brand, better known for pancake mix. And the syrup that goes with it turned out to be the worst performer in that same 2014 Consumer Reports lab test. Of every imitation syrup they checked, this one came back highest for that caramel-linked byproduct, at 38 micrograms. More than 3 times what Log Cabin measured, and higher than either Aunt Jemima version. The ingredients are the usual suspects. Corn syrup, high-fructose corn syrup, caramel color, artificial flavor. No new twist here. Just when an independent lab actually lined these bottles up side by side, this is the one that came out worst. They didn't just fake the maple, they faked it worse than anyone else in the room. The next brand built its entire identity on looking like it came straight from your grandmother's kitchen. It didn't. Number 2. Mrs. Butterworth's Original Syrup. This is the brand with maybe the strongest homemade grandma persona in the entire category. The bottle's even shaped like an old-fashioned syrup jug, and that's exactly the problem. The more a product leans into feeling homemade and authentic, the more it stings to find out it's corn syrup, high-fructose corn syrup, and caramel color in a costume. The same 2014 Consumer Reports test measured this one at 21 micrograms of that caramel-linked byproduct. Squarely in the middle of the pack, but still measurable. Still there. Owned by Conagra, it's sold in nearly every grocery store in the country, riding entirely on the warmth of its packaging. The bottle looks like your grandmother's kitchen. The label reads like a chemistry set, and the worst bottle on this entire list isn't guilty of one lie. It's stacking two of them in the same bottle. Number 1. Carries sugar-free, low-calorie syrup. This one takes the top spot for a different reason than pure deception. It stacks the maple lie on top of a health halo lie. Carries markets itself with a 100-plus-year oldest maple syrup brand in America, Heritage Story, which makes you assume you're getting something wholesome. Flip the bottle and there's no maple in sight. Instead, you're looking at sorbitol, sucralose, acesulfame potassium, and aspartame, a sugar-free product built entirely on sugar substitutes. Sorbitol has a well-documented side effect once you eat more than a small amount of it. It pulls water into your gut and can genuinely wreck your stomach. And because this bottle contains aspartame, it also carries a phenylalanine warning for anyone with PKU, a real, legally required disclosure, not a stretch. Marketed like a maple tradition, sweetened like a science experiment. Before we get to the brands actually worth buying, there's a 5-second label trick that makes this entire list irrelevant, and it works on every syrup bottle in existence. We'll give it to you right after this. Now here's the good news, and it's genuinely good news. Finding real maple syrup is not hard. It's not some rare artisanal hunt. Some of the best options are sitting in the exact same aisle as the fakes, often for less money than you'd expect, and a few of them are store brands you already trust for other things. Let's rank 6 bottles that are the real deal, from good to the one we'd grab first. Number 6. Maple Grove Farms of Vermont Pure Maple Syrup. We're starting here because this bottle has a special claim to fame. It's literally the control consumer reports used in that 2014 lab test to show what real maple looks like next to the fakes. While Hungry Jack measured 38 micrograms of that caramel byproduct, this one measured just 0.7, practically nothing. It also earned a very good taste rating in that same test, at $2.69 per quarter-cup serving. The priciest amber syrup consumer reports tested, but the tasters thought it earned it. One thing to know, the company behind this bottle, B&G Foods, is the very same one behind Vermont Made, the state-named imitation syrup a few spots back on our avoid list. Same company, and this time, the right bottle. The company that makes some of the worst fakes on this list also makes one of the best real ones. Just grab the right bottle. The next bottle skips the middleman entirely. One family, one state, nothing else. Number 5. Butternut Mountain Farm Pure Vermont Maple Syrup. This one's a family-owned Vermont operation, and the label backs it up. One ingredient, nothing added, straight-up pure Vermont maple syrup. Their organic line is certified through Vermont's own State Organic Farming Board, not a generic outside certifier, and it's kosher certified as well. Expect to pay somewhere around $9 to $12 for a standard bottle. If you want maple syrup that's about as close to the source as a grocery store bottle gets, this is it. One ingredient, one state, one straightforward bottle. The next bottle carries a warning label, and once you know why, it'll make you trust it more, not less. Number 4, Coombs Family Farms Organic Maple Syrup. Coombs sources from thousands of small family farms and bottles a genuinely single ingredient, USDA organic, non-GMO, kosher maple syrup, typically running $10 to $13, depending on size. One thing worth mentioning, honestly, some listings for this product carry a California cancer warning label, tied to trace metals that can occur naturally in maple syrup from old collection equipment across the industry. And this isn't anything specific to Coombs doing something wrong. It shows up across the pure maple category generally, not just here. Still one ingredient, still the real thing. Still a completely reasonable bottle to keep in your pantry. A warning label about maple syrup in general, not a red flag about this one bottle in particular. The next brand enforces a rule so strict, it's the same rule that got one of our avoid list bottles flagged earlier in this video. Number 3. 365 by Whole Foods Market Organic Maple Syrup. Whole Foods house brand keeps it dead simple. Organic maple syrup, one ingredient, independently certified. And Whole Foods enforces a chain-wide ban on high fructose corn syrup and a long list of other additives across everything they sell. The same policy that got Pearl Milling flagged earlier in this video for 4 separate ingredients. If you already shop there, there's no reason to look further for your syrup. The next bottle is about to prove that even the good shelf has a trap sitting right next to the real thing. Number 2. Trader Joe's Organic Vermont Maple Syrup. Trader Joe's Pure Maple came out on top in that same Consumer Reports taste test, rated excellent, and at just $1.06 per quarter cup serving, it was also the cheapest amber syrup they tested. Real maple syrup, genuinely good, cheaper than some of the fakes on our avoid list. Here's the split verdict moment though. Trader Joe's also sells a maple agave syrup blend, and that one is mostly cane sugar with a bit of maple mixed in. Not the same product, and not what you want. Grab the bottle labeled 100% pure maple syrup, or organic Vermont maple syrup, and you're set. And the top spot doesn't just win by a little. It's not close. Number 1. Kirkland's Signature Organic Pure Maple Syrup. Costco's house brand takes the top spot, and honestly it's not close. One ingredient, certified organic, and Consumer Reports specifically named it, alongside Trader Joe's, as one of the smartest buys in the entire category when they broke down price per serving. If you're only going to remember one name from this whole video, make it this one. Best ingredient list, best price per ounce, best bottle to actually buy. Now here's the trick I mentioned earlier, and honestly it takes less than 5 seconds. Flip the bottle around and look at the ingredient list. If it says anything other than maple syrup or organic maple syrup, as basically the only thing listed, put it back. Real maple syrup only needs one ingredient, because it only has one ingredient. It's boiled down tree sap. Nothing to add, nothing to hide. The second you see corn syrup, high fructose corn syrup, or natural and artificial flavor anywhere on that list, you're holding an imitation, no matter what the front of the bottle promises you. That one check would have exposed every single brand we just went through in under 5 seconds. One glance at the back of the bottle. That's the only lab test you'll ever need to run. So here's where that leaves us. 11 bottles on grocery shelves right now, some of the best known names in the syrup aisle, that don't contain a drop of real maple, no matter how homemade or how Vermont they look. And 6 bottles, some of them cheaper than the fakes, that are exactly what they claim to be. The good news is you don't need to memorize 11 brand names to protect yourself. You need one habit. Flip the bottle, check the ingredients, and if it's not just maple syrup, put it back. And once you start reading labels this way, you'll never look at a grocery shelf the same way again, which is exactly why we do this every week. These problems aren't limited to syrup. Once you start looking, almost everything in your kitchen has some version of this same story. Take bread, something most of us eat every single day without a second thought. What if I told you that some of what we found in bread doesn't just involve fake labels or deceptive names? Some of it is genuinely dangerous. That's exactly what we uncovered in our last deep dive. Go watch the full video to see exactly how bread companies are getting away with it.